We be live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Wow, look at the live chat. It's very busy. Thank you guys for
I
being
mean,
here. Yes, I can see
it's a
why.
big day. We're talking about some big things. The world is changing very fast. We are in
Right.
historic times, my friends. And it's time to talk about it. We are here. Oh
Yes,
my God. Armin is like chomping at the bit.
I
He's like,
have. I don't
Susanna,
know
I
if
don't
I
know
would be
how I
able
can.
to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he can stop talking.
Yeah, no, but I do need to stop talking sometimes because I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your questions, and I also want to hear what people have to say in the live chat. Okay. Uh, this is the first ever attack from Iranian soil on Israeli soil. And I never thought that I would live to see the day because this is a huge violation of the Islamic Republic of Iran's own doctrine, right? This is completely against their own philosophy. This is a red line that no one saw ever crossing. I mean, given that this was always supposed to be a Iranian proxy activity, not Iranian. It's not from Iran soil to Israel soil. So this is new. This is completely new, and I mean, a lot of young Israelis have don't haven't seen them being attacked by another country. I'm sure their parents and their grandparents know exactly what that feels like, but a lot
Well, I
of young
mean,
Israeli
they have rockets thrown at them by Hamas like
a
constantly.
country
They know what that feels
country.
like. Well, I
I
mean,
know, but
yeah.
listen, no, but this is different. This is completely different. Okay, having another country being against you is different. So because Hamas and Hezbollah are throwing rockets at Israel, I'm not going to make light of that. That's like that is stressful, right? But having countries come at you, that's annihilation type of threats that a lot of people might think about, right? So going into another era in history where Israel is facing countries might be coming at it rather than militia coming at it, that's a step up. By the way, thank you everybody for liking the stream and people who are telling us where they're watching from. Susie, thank you for highlighting these comments. Is there before I get into this? Is there any comments that you want to highlight, or do you want to respond to anybody, or is there any interesting comments that you want to talk about?
I mean, I have a lot of um things that I want to talk about, like my perception and things I've been hearing from my friends and stuff. But I think it's best if we just get into it.
Right. Okay. So first of all, responding to the title, I haven't been away from the English channel in the past, like anything social media, any of our social media outlets in English, because I've been busy within the Iranian social media. Ever since the attack, I've been talking to the Atheist Republic Iranian community from within Iran on on our Persian Discord server, and I'm following all the anti-regime narratives from the people and also the pro-regime narratives from the people. By the way, guys, please like the stream. I really, really do need you guys to like the stream today, okay? Because the things that I'm about to tell you, I'm not hearing these in other places, right? I'm listening to everybody from all sides, and one thing that you don't even hear on many of Iranian outlets or Iranian social media is what the hardliners, the pro-regime hardliners are saying. So I'm going to tell you what the reaction has been from within Iran, uh, in response to these attacks, from the people, from the majority who are against the regime, and also from the minority that are pro-regime. Just so that we get started on this, I just want to show you a poll that we ran on our own. Um, you know, we made a poll. This is again targeted at the Iranian community. So our audience is mostly people in Iran. We did a poll. It's mostly 80% of our audience comes from Iran. So I posted this question. I said, آیا از حمله اسرائیل به جمهوری اسلامی در پاسخ به حملات موشکی و پهپادی جمهوری اسلامی استقبال میکنید؟ So the question says, do you welcome an Israeli attack against the Islamic Republic in response to the Islamic Republic's missile and drone strikes to Israel? So you can see 63% said yes and 37% said no. So, and also, by the way, if you look at the comments, the people who are saying yes, they are specifically hoping that it's a strike on military facilities or nuclear sites, not civilian sites. So that's what the people who are saying yes are saying in the comment section, that they're giving some context with what they're saying yes to. They're not hoping Israel comes and attacks Iran and like hits like, and I don't think Israel would ever do anything like that hits the civilian sites in Iran. What? Do
you want to say what Nazi said?
No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Okay. No, that's a joke. Okay. But let me move. And also, the people who are saying no, some of them are also providing the context that they're saying that it's not that we don't support Israel. So even the people who are saying no, some of them are saying they're not saying we do understand that Israel has to respond and all. We just don't like the prices of everything going up. The economy is going to we have to pay the price for it. Our living costs is going to significantly worsen because of attacks like this. So even the people who are saying no, they're Iranians who are saying no, Iranians who are within Iran who are saying no to this, they're not saying no because they're against Israel. They're just wondering what's going to happen to their lives. So that's the context, right? Also, there's a whole bunch of jokes coming around these attacks. People are making fun of, Iranians are making fun of their military, given that this was an attack with more than 300 drones and missiles. So there were a combination of drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles, and none of the drones or cruise missiles made it to Israel. It was only some of the ballistic missiles that made it to Israel. Every single 99% of the entire 300 things that were thrown at Israel, 99% of them were completely removed before they hit the ground. They were intercepted, but this is key. None of the drones and none of the cruise missiles even made it within the borders of Israel. So the Israeli defense, the UK, France, United States, and surprisingly, Jordan were involved in taking down all of this threat before it reached Israel on the way. So that's something that a lot of Iranians were making fun of. A lot of Iranians were joking that maybe if we harshly insulted them, we would have had more casualties on the Israeli side. Some people in Iran, I like a lot of jokes going. There's so many jokes going around in Iran right now on social media. Some people in Iran are saying like there's a car called Pride in Iran that has a lot of road accidents, and a lot of people in Iran die because of this car is not being very good. It's not very safe. And some Iranians said maybe instead of missiles and drones, if we exported Pride to Israel, we would have had more Israeli casualties. That's something like so. Just so there was a picture of a drone like stuck within like wires, like on the way, got like hit some electric wires, and it was stuck in there. And there were videos of that came out. Yeah, but some people were like looking at that, and the jokes were like, "Oh, our hard revenge is stuck. Why is our hard revenge stuck?" Because the Iranian government is like, "Oh, our hard revenge is coming," and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, our hard revenge is stuck in wires." So, again, a lot of people were making light of this. Some people are saying that, "Oh, if Israel is going to respond and attack, can I stop paying my? Is it going to happen? Are they going to come and like topple the regime? Is it okay if I stop paying my bills? Like if the attack is imminent, can somebody tell me if I don't have to pay my bills right now?" So that was another joke. But anyways, jokes aside, we don't have like statistics, like, so we have like an online poll, and our online poll, so you saw, oh wait, let me see, I didn't even read the results. 63% said yes, they want Israel. 63% of Iranians that responded to our poll said yes, they want Israel to respond, they want Israel to attack the Islamic Republic of Iran, and 37% said no, they don't want that to happen. And the main, again, this is not the only, the main reason why people want Israel to attack the Islamic Republic of Iran, Iranians want that, is because they see that this might, is this how we get the toppling of the government? So anything that might increase the chances of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the government toppling, a lot of people welcome it. And the main reason, as I mentioned, that some people say no, is that they're worried about their living costs, because the price of the dollar in Iran just reached a new record high in response to this attack. It went above 70,000 tumans, Iranian tumans. And this is basically a record high, and it's going to significantly have a huge impact on Iranian lives and living costs. And some people say, like, that's horrible. Some people like, you know what, whatever hits the regime, we welcome that. I don't care. And also, there was a lot of people in Iran trying to, like, there was long lines of people trying to fill up gas. People thought that they might, because the price of gas and everything might go up and stuff like that, or maybe the shortage of gas. And also another element, this is what I was getting into. I showed you the poll, and again, this is not a scientific poll, and also our community might be biased, but another indication, it is biased actually, but another huge indication that there is a lot of support for Israel. So, by the way, I'm not judging this based on what people are saying just in our community. Like, if you go at every single news outlet, in Iranian news outlet, posting about the attack of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran on Israel, in the comment section, you could see people making light of the military, people making jokes, people supporting Israel, people. In fact, I might show you some comments. Oh yeah, I might show you some comments by Iranian people, because apparently Israel, there was news that that Israel was thinking, like, was about to attack. I don't know if this news is correct or not, but apparently there are the rumors, again, this is not verified, that Israel wanted to respond immediately within Iranian soil, and the Biden administration stopped them. Right? So whether this, what I'm going to say next, is irrelevant to whether this news is correct or not. Right? I'm not saying this news is correct, but there was rumors. So Iran International posted this, that apparently Biden administration convinced them not to immediately respond. And under that post, a lot of Iranians were cursing Biden, that why did you stop Netanyahu from attacking Iran? Like, there was a mountain. Again, this is not our community. This was just the comment section under a news report, that so many people were like, oh, this was our chance. Oh my God, Biden, Ayatollah Biden always saving the mullahs. So there was a lot of hatred for Biden under that post. Yeah, so that also shows how much, and an indication of how many Iranians wanting to welcome an Israeli attack on Iranian soil. This is, guys, tell me if you see this anywhere else in the world. Is there any other country where the people of that country there's this level of support for a foreign country to come attack your soil? Like, I don't see that anywhere else. Can anybody mention another place where the citizens of that country are like, please, yes, please come attack our soil? Like, no. I mean, do you know any other country, Susie, that is like that?
No. It reminds me of how you told me about when you were growing up as a kid and the United States launched the invasion of Iraq. How you guys started cheering in your classroom because you thought that the Americans were going to come and free Iran next.
Yes, we were like chanting, "We are next, we are next, we are next." Yes, so And that was back then. That was now. This is a lot more because after what happened to Iraq, that a lot of that support died. But now it's back. Now a lot of people in Iran think that the only hope they have, not all of them again, but a lot of Iranians think like the Israeli government is the only hope that for liberation that they might have. So here's what I was trying to get at. By the way, let me know if there's any interesting comments that we need to respond to. But here's another point. The IRGC, so the Iranian military, one of the Iranians' military arms, just made an announcement that they will go after people in Iran who are celebrating a potential Israeli response. So that announcement, so if you can't trust the comment sections that I'm like looking at, or if you can't trust the polls, but that announcement by Iran's own military that we will find the people who are celebrating a potential attack on Israel, and we will like punish them, like warning people on social media, warning Iranians on social media not to be celebrating or supporting Israel. That also shows that there's a huge support for Israel and Iranian social media. So that's one indication.
That's a huge admission. That's actually such a big admission.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's a self-report.
Yes. Yeah. And the question is now whether a lot of people are asking whether Israel would respond or not respond. And I have, about 4 or 5 reasons why they would respond and 2 reasons why they wouldn't respond. And I don't know if you want to get into all of that. But before we get into all of that, I see you have 13 comments highlighted. Do you want to get into those? Let's ask. Do you want to highlight those?
Yeah, so we already got Michael just became a new member. Thank you, Michael, for liking the stream and becoming a member to support the channel. Welcome to Satan's Minions. Guys, please consider becoming a member, joining the channel, supporting our work so we can keep doing this. Ahmed is asking, what is the writing on your shirt, Susanna? And I should clarify in case you just don't only see the top of it. That would be weird.
But the Ayatollah, the Ayatollah Khomeini sucks. Yes, this is a very old shirt.
This is a shirt from 1979, declaring what we believe strongly on this channel. Ayatollah Khomeini sucks. And I have to break out this shirt every time I need to dunk on the Islamic Republic. What?
By the way, 666 people are watching. I had to screenshot that from over. That was pretty cool. From 666? YouTube. Yes, from YouTube and Twitter combined. So at least, let me see. YouTube is 375 people and Twitter 300 people. Guys, make sure you like the stream because I'm about to give you some information that I don't see a lot of other places discussing. I need more people to watch this. And also, if you're watching this on Twitter, consider coming on Atheist Republic YouTube and watching it there and liking and subscribing to our channel. Right. So, by the way, this whole thing was such a major gift. What? Oh,
we still have a bunch of other things.
Okay, read it.
We also got a super chat by Obi Haley. Thank you for the $5, saying the Muslim Republic of Iran is digging its own grave, internationally speaking. Thank you, Armin and Susanna, for the amazing coverage. Well, thank you for the super chat, Obi. I do have to say that I think a lot of people would take offense at you calling it the Muslim Republic of Iran because the minority of people in Iran are Muslims.
No, wait. You're wrong. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not the name of that's not referring to the country. That's referring to the government. So when we say the Islamic Republic, we're talking about the government, not the country. But yeah, go on. Mm-hmm. But thank you.
And then I just thought this was cute. David is saying 63% Bale. Like David practicing his Farsi in the live chat is adorable. I love it, David.
Yes.
Very good. And Kenny gave a super chat saying, what do you think Israel will do in response? Well, we'll get into that for sure.
I will get into that, yes.
And SP gave a super chat. Thank you, SP. Saying no need to read this out, guys. Just sending love and support from Australia. Cheers, Spyro. Thank you. That's so
Spyro.
sweet.
Thank you.
Also, Turd Nerd just became a new member. Yef just gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you guys. Welcome to Satan's Minions. Make sure to use your member emojis in the live chat. If you live in a country where it's not safe to do blasphemy, you can instead use the emoji of me licking the Quran to blaspheme for you. Also, Arimov is saying, I'm a Jew from the Caucasus. We are called Mountain Jews and we speak Farsi. Love you guys. That's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Well, check out our Persian channel. Well, then check out our Persian channel, Jomhuriya Bi Khodayan. Okay? Make sure you might already be there, but make sure you're there. All right.
Great Red Menace saying, Armin and Susanna, are you going to comment on the Argentinian Supreme Court declaring the Islamic Republic criminals against humanity on Friday? Well, we're probably going to be exclusively covering this attack on Israel today, but I am considering talking about this Argentinian development next week. And finally, Wikar is saying, hey, Armin and Susanna, I made a donation to AR through PayPal. I hope you've received it. I'm sorry, I want to become a monthly donor, but I'm going to be going back to Pakistan in a few days. Well, thank you very much for your generosity, Wikar. Thank you for supporting our work. Stay safe in Pakistan. Please keep tuning in when you can. We love that you're part of our community. So, just because you're going back to Pakistan, that doesn't mean you have to say goodbye. So those are the main things I wanted to highlight. There are a few other things about Jordan, but I guess we could cover that later.
Yeah, so I'm going to go into right now. I'm just going to touch on it a little bit, but I'm going to go more into details on why this was such a gift to Israel and also to Netanyahu. But before I go into much detail, I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. A lot of now the narrative has changed. Israel, the anti-Israeli hate on social media and everywhere else has peaked to a level unimaginable. Like, I know there was always anti-Israeli views because Israelis are Jews and there's anti-Jewish hatred in the world, but after October 7th attack and Israel's defending itself in Gaza, it has gone to levels never seen in my lifetime, right? And now one thing that happened is that the narrative has changed. When the Islamic Republic of Iran attacks Israel, people are now going to have a shift in attitude into, especially politicians, they're going to shift their narratives instead of condemning Israel to defending Israel. So the world is we're now seeing a lot more defense of Israel rather than condemning Israel on media everywhere, on social media, on mainstream media, and everywhere else. And among politicians, you could see many politicians that were condemning Israel, asking Israel to stop the war, blah blah blah, are now coming out and full support that we will defend Israel, blah blah blah. Israel has the right to do this and that. So that was such a gift to Israel that just happened. And also a major benefit, another benefit to Israel that just happened right now was the trust in the army has increased right now, because after the October 7th, a lot of Israelis were kind of feeling that, are we safe here? Like, you guys were supposed to protect us. What the hell happened? How did this, and a lot of people now with 300 drones and missiles coming to your country, and not a single person dying because of the capabilities of your military so far. I'm going to talk about that Arab girl. So far, no person in Israel died. I'm hoping that she survives. We'll talk about her soon. But that shows Israeli might, and again also shows how important your friends are. Because it's not just the Iron Dome and the other defense layers that the Israeli military has that stopped a lot of these attacks. It's also that when it comes to attacking Israel, France and United Kingdom and United States And again, this is a big news. Like Jordan came into defending Israel, taking out these missiles in the air and drones in the air before they reach the Israeli soil. And Jordan being involved, Jordan, a country that has a major Palestinian population with a Palestinian queen, may I add? Okay, stop the attacks on Israel. This is significant. This is like normalization of Arabs supporting Israel. The fact that it wasn't just the case that Jordan was using its air force to stop Iranian missiles reaching Israel. It also allowed Israel to use its land for its operations. That is significant. I don't know what the Jordanian people feel about this, because I know there's a lot of anti-Israeli hate in Jordan.
Well, I can give you a little bit of insight into that, actually, just a tad.
Right.
Because as soon as I saw the footage of the Iranian weapons being intercepted above Jordan, I immediately started texting Zaid, because those images are freaking scary. And also I'm thinking about all the shrapnel that's going to be raining down upon people across Jordan. So I immediately texted him, and it was like, I don't know, really early in the morning. And I'm like, Habibi, are you okay? Like, what's happening? And Zaid was like, I didn't get a lick of sleep last night. Things were really scary, but everything's fine. But then he was telling us, I was like, so what's the mood? And he was telling me, I mean, it was like first thing in the morning, so maybe he has more insight now, that he was talking to people and they were talking about how they don't think that Jordan should have intercepted the weapons. They don't support Jordan intercepting the weapons. And he was like, they're freaking idiots. And that's actually what some of the comments I wanted to highlight were saying. Like Zaid here saying, Armin, why are you surprised by Jordan? It's only natural for them to defend their airspace. And Tanky is saying, the people got mad at Jordan for interfering, but if you fire a bunch of dodgy drones and missiles that could fall directly into your airspace, of course you're going to respond.
Okay, so first of all, it is, and whether you expect Jordan to do that or not, no other country does that. These drones missiles were flying over Iraq and Syria and Lebanon. None of them, like Iraq, is like technically has a government that is supposed to be close to the United States right now, and none of them did anything like that, or we didn't consider doing anything like that. So, but I understand that Jordan is different. Jordan and Egypt are different. Jordan and Egypt have like peace treaties with Israel. But again, whether this is surprising, it's not about being surprising. It's about the normalization of Arab countries doing something. And Jordan was not just protecting its own airspace. Let's be clear about this. None of these were meant to hit anything in Jordan. Jordan was actively involved in protecting Israel. Let's be clear about that. Jordan, given that it was hitting missiles and drones that were intended, none of these were supposed to land anywhere in Jordan. They were all intended for Israel. And also, it's not just that they were intercepting these missiles, they were also allowing Israelis to use their country as a base of operations. So that's beyond like Jordan just defending itself. I think Zaid, what you are saying is probably, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, the justification of the Jordanian government to the Jordanian people. Okay, that's what I think you're saying. I think like Jordan was not defending its own airspace. Jordan was defending Israel, but Jordan is like, hey, Jordanian people, come on now. Okay, this was just we have to defend our airspace. I think this is just an excuse. Okay, the Jordanian government did way more than one would do to defend its own airspace. Yep. Anything else you want to highlight before I continue?
Well, this is you highlighted this comment. The Jordanian king is sleeping alone tonight.
Right.
Although it's all talk. Like, I think the queen is just all talk. It's just all talk.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her. Jordan has a lot of, I'm sorry to say, crazy radicals, right? That I think like for your internal you need to provide some anti-Israeli narratives from your own internal audience, or else I don't know. You're not. Maybe you don't get to remain king or queen for long.
You might get the guillotine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways,
They came close before.
Yeah. Right. Actually, you're right. There was an attempted coup in Jordan. So another thing, this was beyond what the benefits to Israel and the IDF. There are specific benefits to Netanyahu, right? Netanyahu has been not very popular ever since October 7th, given that under his watch, the greatest attack on Israelis have happened in the history of Israel. And also, given that Netanyahu is supposed to be Mr. Security and the person that nothing like this would happen under his watch, that was the main reason why he collects votes. People vote for Netanyahu in Israel mostly because he's supposed to be Mr. Security. He's supposed to be the guy that protects Israelis. And under his watch, that many Israelis died. So that's not good for his reputation.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the justification that rationalizes all his other bad behavior. That he has all this bad behavior, he has all this corruption, but he keeps us safe, and he's strong against Iran. And this is what gives him legitimacy.
Exactly. This kind of redeems him a bit, like because again, 900 drones and 900, not three, like around 300. 99% of the 300 drones and missiles that came at Israel, 99% of them were intercepted. And the 1% that made it through didn't do any major serious damage, except that girl which I will get to, right? That is amazing for Netanyahu's reputation. So Netanyahu, it is within Netanyahu's interest to continue the escalation, continue the tensions as long as possible, so that there's no elections soon. Because if the closer the elections in Israel are to October 7th, the closer the Israeli public is going to be angry at, regarding what happened on October 7th, right? So if I'm Netanyahu, I would like to make sure that the elections are as far as possible from October 7th. So a lot of alternative narratives make it in before there's elections. A lot of different viewpoints, because if it's close to October 7th, the narrative is like, screw you, we need a new prime minister. But if it's far away, then I get a chance to do a lot of heroic things, a lot of things that redeems me as a prime minister. And then if we have an election in Israel, then I might have a better chance. So just keeping up the tensions is good for Netanyahu. By the way, I'm not saying that keeping up the tensions is bad for Israel. Netanyahu is doing the right things that are good for Israel, but I don't trust his intentions, even though what he's doing is exactly what any other prime minister would have been doing right now, right? So even if Netanyahu has bad intentions, any prime minister with good intentions in Israel would be doing the same things right now in Israel. There's pretty much an agreement on that, except maybe from the main pushback comes from the family of the hostages, but almost everyone else kind of agrees with what Netanyahu is doing. But so keeping up the tensions so that the elections are delayed, one, and two, being able to defend Israel, because you failed to defend Israel on October 7th, but your main enemy just attacked you, and you had a major victory of defending your Israel in that. So that's a good thing to talk about right now. So this was such a gift to Netanyahu. So somebody was saying, I will get to this. Amir Hussein is saying, guys, do you think there will be a full war or not? That's what I'm getting to. I will talk about that. Susie, if you have any points right now, that would be a good time, because I need a pee break. I have so much more to say.
I can just talk about my thoughts. Okay. So basically, yesterday I was taking a shower and then I got out of the shower to the response of like a million people texting me, being like, well, not a million, that's an exaggeration, but several people texting me that, like, oh, Iran has directly attacked Israel. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I started shaking. And I immediately started reaching out to my different Iranian friends and just making sure that they're okay and touching base. And like, especially because, it took several hours for the missiles and drones to reach Israel. It felt like forever where you just didn't know what was going to happen. And um I, I just want to like really highlight how terrifying this is for so many people. Like, I received calls from my friends just like sobbing. For example, one of my friends has been working for years to bring her cousin from Iran to America, and she was due to come in a few days. And now she can't because all the airspaces are closed and now she's stuck. Meanwhile, they're like freaking out, like, what is she going to be safe? Like, I don't know. And then but then after some time, like, where the initial shock wore off and I started to kind of get some different reactions from my friends. So one of my friends, I immediately texted him like, hey, I just want to make sure like that you're okay. Let me know if you want to talk. Let me know how you're feeling. And she was like, I hope Israel fucks up the president. And I'm like, see, this is what I love about you Iranians. Y'all have zero chill. She's like, yep, zero chill. I hope Israel could fuck Raisi up the ass and I would give them water for round 2. And I was like, oh, damn, okay, it's like that. And then I went to go talk to another one of my friends. Actually, he had just gotten off of work and he hadn't even heard the news yet because he, like, deleted all that stuff off his phone. So I was basically delivering the news to him. And it was really interesting how he was like and this is a friend of mine from Iran who actually had friends who were killed on the attack on the Nova Festival. He had friends that were killed on October 7th. And he is kind of like very interestingly like at peace or hands off about the whole thing. He's like, yeah, Susanna, this is the Middle East. Like, you can die any day. But one of the first, well, I mean, he also kind of had a dangerous lifestyle, but one of the first things that he said to me that I thought was so interesting was he was like, oh, well, I know that Israel doesn't want to kill civilians. And I was like, wow. Like, and this is not a person who's like super knowledgeable about like the nuclear sites and military tactics and all that stuff. And I just thought it was so interesting that almost as soon as he received this news for the first time, the first thing that he identified was like, oh yeah, well, I know that Israel doesn't really want to kill civilians. And I thought that was so interesting because that's not what I think most people would probably think when they hear that there's a high possibility that there's going to be a counterstrike against their country. I thought that was such an interesting thing to almost immediately identify or to hear from someone who is like facing this reality about their home. And besides that, I, of course, got in touch with Armin and was hearing about what people are saying in the Persian community and blah, blah, blah. Let me say, Iranians have such a funny, very dark sense of humor.
Yeah, some like, comments. Wait,
I don't know. It was immediately like all jokes.
Yes.
I was like, how can you guys be joking so much when you might be facing an imminent attack? Like,
I just looked up 2 of the other jokes on Instagram. People were commenting on the, under the news post. One of them, because the Iranian government like, oh, if you if we go to war with Israel, you have to respond with 80 million Iranians. Like 80 million Iranians will stand up to you. And some people were responding, can you make that 79,999,000? Because I'm not coming. One person was like commenting like, okay, I'm not coming to war against Israel unless I get to choose the music in the tank. Another person were asking, so in Iran, when we go to school in high school, we have a class called Defai, where they teach you like defense, war, and how to be a soldier and stuff like that. And it's mandatory for all boys to take that. And the government was like saying that, oh, 80 million people would respond to Israel. And some guy was commenting, guys, I'm looking for my defense book from high school. I can't find it. I don't want to, like, he was going to go review the book to see how to fight in war. Like, guys, I don't know where my book is. I'm going to go read that. That was kind of funny.
My God.
Anyways.
It was so funny. I'm like, can you guys like take this seriously for 1 second, please? It was, I don't know. I think it's so funny from the outside to see people like joking like this in these circumstances. Like, I think it really shows what attitudes are like.
Yeah, even people who are against, like there was some woman, I saw a comment, people who are against Israel attacking Iran. So there was the news about that Israeli Arab girl that got severely injured. And under some woman was saying like, please stay alive, because if you die, we're all like fucked. Like, so she's like, she knows that Israel will come and attack more aggressively if she dies. So this Iranian lady was like asking that little girl to stay alive. But let me go to the questions that a lot of people are asking. Oh, before I talk about predictions, because whether Israel would respond or not, and if it responds, how big of a response is going to be. By the way, 1,100 people are watching us on Twitter and YouTube combined. Guys, please make sure you like us on YouTube, and people on Twitter, please come on YouTube and on Atheist Republic YouTube and watch us on YouTube. Okay, so talking about predictions, first of all, how impressive is United States intelligence? Because again, just like we saw before, just like we saw with Ukraine, just like we saw with Russia, just like we saw with that ISIS attack on Iran, United States was coming out days in advance, like, yep, there's going to be an attack. And people are like, is there? United States were like, yep, Iran is good. A lot of analysts were saying that there's not going to be an attack. Iran will not attack Israel. And United States government was saying there will be an attack. Most analysts were saying, most Iranian and foreign analysts on mainstream media everywhere, they were like, nope, Iran would not dare do anything like this. But the United States government was pretty confident in saying that the attack was going to happen, and it happened. So I just wanted to remember, this is really good for, we have to remember how good U.S. intelligence is, because ever since the Iraq war, and them saying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and they didn't, it has become trend to dismiss U.S. intelligence. But let's just remember that United States was saying that Russia is going to attack Ukraine. A lot of people were laughing at that and dismissing that, and then Russia did attack Ukraine. Also, United States warned, just the recent ISIS attack on Russia, United States responsibly warned Russia that there's going to be an ISIS attack, and it also told Russia where the attacks are going to be. And the ISIS attack happened in Russia, and it happened exactly in the places where United States government told Russia. So there's that. Also, the U.S. government warned the Iranian government. And remember, Russia and the Iranian government are against the United States government, but United States has a policy that whenever there's a terrorist attack, they will warn the government of those countries, whether it's an ally country or not. So the United States warned. Yes, United States warned the Iranian government that there will be an ISIS attack, and the Iranian government didn't take it seriously, and there was an ISIS attack, and United States was surprised how the Iranian government let that happen, given the warning that the Iranian government, the U.S. government gave. So that prediction came true, and now you can see that the United States knew that this attack is going to happen, and it did happen. So let's talk about predictions. Will Israel respond? So I've been looking at everywhere, like speaking to analysts, looking at reviews, looking at intelligence reports and everything. And I give you the reasons why Israel will respond and the reasons why Israel will not respond. Which one do you want to hear first? Well, that they will respond and that they will not respond.
Let's go with will respond.
Okay. So first of all, as we mentioned, Netanyahu needs this for this is so good for Netanyahu, right? Israel responding and increasing tensions with the Islamic Republic of Iran helps with the elections, helps with the changing of narratives, delays the election, and changes the narrative from what happened in October 7th. We already talked about that. We also talked about how this is good for Israel. However, let's actually be more specific. A lot of people are suggesting that this was a trap laid by Israel, and it was a very smart trap, because Israel, if you have tensions, you do the things that you never get the chance to do without the tensions. Israel cannot tolerate Iran becoming nuclear. Israel, it's the greatest threat to Israel. Iran becoming nuclear is a greater threat to Israel than Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Kataib Hezbollah, the Fatimiyun, the Zainabiyun, all of these different proxy groups, Islamic Jihad, all of them combined is not as big of a threat. So you saw after October 7th, you think like Hamas is an existential threat to Israel. It's not. The Islamic Republic of Iran is, and the Islamic Republic of Iran going nuclear is the greatest thing to Israel. Not because they will use the nuke, but because all the things that they get to do if they have a nuke, right? So you have to understand
the intimidation.
Nukes, yeah, because then your deterring capabilities will go off the roof, and then you don't have to worry about anybody attacking you in a way to topple you completely. That's why you will have the upper hand to do. So the Islamic Republic of Iran is the main source of increasing tensions in the Middle East without nuclear weapons. So imagine if they have nuclear weapons and they're kind of guaranteed that nobody will come attack them to completely remove them. Imagine how much more they will do. Because, guys, nukes are not for using. Nukes are for stopping people attacking you. And if Iran becomes nuclear, it will be able to do a lot greater things against Israel. So this is a huge, huge threat to Israel. And Israel cannot tolerate Iran going full nuclear. And to be honest, I think at some point they are going to go fully nuclear. But any responsible government within Israel will do anything it can to try to either stop that or at least delay that. When you have tensions, there's certain doors that will open up to you. And if Israel does not take advantage of these doors opening up to it to strike at Iranian facilities, either missile facilities, missile bases, or nuclear bases. So we could talk about which one of these would be a better target for Israel, because a lot of nuclear facilities that Israel will want to take, it doesn't have the bombers needed to be able to take it out, because they're deeply heavy in the mountains, and only United States has the capability to take those out, has the bombers to be able to take those out. And that's why a lot of people are saying that not only Israel wants to go to war with Iran, at least, not the full frontal war, but at least within the soil of Iran, to be able to make strikes in the soils of Iran. It also wants to drag the United States with it, because the United States is the only military that is going to be capable to take out those sites that it needed to. But anyway, this is a lot of people are like, oh, how dare Israel increasing tensions? This is because of this. Like, if you say this is a trap, honestly, if this is a trap, I fully support Israel for laying out this trap, because increasing tensions, sometimes it's for reducing tensions. Because imagine if the Islamic Republic of Iran gets to a point where it has these capabilities, the Islamic Republic of Iran is the main source of increasing tensions in the Middle East. So if you're taking advantage of increased tensions to be able to take these facilities out, that is, as a net, the net results will be reduced tensions, right? So some people are suggesting that the taking out of the consulate, because I hope everybody knows that the Iranian attack on Israel, Iranian government's attack on Israel, was a response to the attack of the Iranian consulate in Syria, right?
I kind of want to
Israel's
unpack
attack.
that a little bit.
Yeah, I will get to that. So maybe I just assumed everybody knows this here, but I will just tell you really quickly. So what happened was Israel, allegedly, but almost guaranteed, used a missile to hit a consulate of Iran in Syria, and they took 7 of key Iranian military members, one of them as close to where Qasem Soleimani was. So that was pretty significant with one missile. And Iran attacking Israel is now a response to that. So some people are suggesting that Israel did this in order to make it so that the Iranian government has to use its own military from its own soil to respond to Israel, not using its proxies. So because Iranian government uses its proxies to avoid exactly this happening, so that it has plausible deniability, so that the Israeli government doesn't have an excuse to attack Iranian soil. So the understanding is, by some people, that the Israeli military took out the so-called Iranian consulate. I consider it a consulate because it was being used for military operations, but took out the consulate specifically so that it gets an attack from Iranian soil. So now it has its hands open to attack Iranian soil. If it did that, I support that, because Israel should not tolerate Iran going fully nuclear and Iran becoming this advanced in missile technology, right? So that's another reason why some people will say yes. So either because it was a trap, or even if it wasn't a trap, this is an opportunity for Israel to be able to do what it always wanted to do within Iranian soil by a lot of people in Israel's government, that it might never get this opportunity again, because the door has opened. You could enter it and take advantage of it. And if you miss this chance, the next time you have the chance, Iran might have already gone full nuclear. So it would be one reason why Israel might respond is because it would be insane if Israel doesn't take advantage of this opportunity. Never again will you have, before Iran going nuclear, you might never again have an opportunity for you having the justifications, because you now have the most justification to hit Iranian soil because you were attacked by Iranian soil. What do you think about that?
Well, okay. One thing that I've been thinking about was with this attack on the consulate. Like, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, who are saying, like, what country in the world would we ever expect to receive an attack on its consulate and not respond?" And I find that argument really interesting because, one, the Iranian government, correct me if I'm wrong, Armin, has at this point openly claimed participation in October 7th.
Right. You went ahead of me. Yeah, okay.
So I just wanted to say, like, people are like, "Oh, well, for this round of fighting, they're acting as if the tit for tat started at the attack on that consulate." It didn't. The tit for tat started over like 6 months ago, right? So that's one. Two, if we are acting as if it started just like 2 weeks ago with the attack on the Syrian consulate, is that, well, what country would we ever expect to just accept an attack on its embassy and just take that line down? Well, apparently you expect that of America, because we can rewind a few years to when there was an attack on the Iraqi embassy. And when the United States responded by turning Qasem Soleimani into some cutlet, people were outraged, saying that the United States was starting World War III. So you expected the US to take an attack on the consulate just sitting down. So I'm like, do people have amnesia? Like, you expected America to take an attack on one of our consulates, which is our soil, sitting down. So what do you mean? Oh, what country would we ever hold this standard to? Well, apparently our own.
That's a good. Yes, that's such a good point.
Tell me if I'm off base. Am I out of pocket? No. I'm like, I remember this.
Yes. Yes, yes. The same people that say that they're justifying Iranian government attacking Israel because there was an attack on the consulate are the same people when there was an attack on the U.S. embassy, and that was an embassy, not a consulate. They were like, "Oh, don't escalate," and they were criticizing Trump for taking out Qasem Soleimani. Imagine that.
One of the
Qasem
best things
Soleimani.
he ever
What?
did.
Yes, one missile, that took out one car, and they were like, that was an unjustified response. But apparently, 300 missiles thrown at the soil of your country, like that, and that was an attack outside of Iranian soil. Qasem Soleimani was outside of Iran when he was taken out. That was apparently unjustified. Killing a terrorist outside of Iranian soil by Trump was unjustified, but sending out 300 drones and missiles to Israeli soil, that was completely a-okay because they took out a consulate. A consulate, by the way, that was not even I would not consider. Guys, remember that a consulate or a hospital or any other building that under international law enjoys a certain protection from not being attacked under international law loses that protection when it's used for military operations. So that building, the consulate, was hit when you had these top generals planning attacks on Israel. That you don't get to enjoy international protection of not being attacked when when that building is being used for military operations. So there's that. But so that was reason number 2. I was going to give you 4 or 5 reasons why Israel will respond, and again 2 reasons why they will not respond. So the first reason was it was so good for Bibi. The second response is that this is for Israel. This is such an important opportunity that if they don't use it, they might lose this opportunity, and that door might never open to them again. I mean, at that point, Iran will be nuclear. Third reason why Israel will respond is that they promised. They promised before the attack. They said that if we get attacked from Iranian soil, we will respond on Iranian soil. And Israel usually follows through when it comes to making threats like that. Israel doesn't have a record of making empty threats. When they make a threat, they stand by it. So
unlike
this
the Democrats.
Right. So this might be if they don't respond, it would be weird. It would be a new thing. And one of the few times Israel said that they will respond in a way, and they didn't. So that's reason number 3 why they will respond. And the reason number 4, as Susanna mentioned, we now have confirmation from the Islamic Republic of Iran and Hamas at the same time that the Iranian government was responsible in October 7th, right? So the top general that was killed in the consulate, the Zahedi guy, right? After he was killed, the Iranian government came out and said that this guy was involved in the planning of October 7th. By the way, if this guy was involved in the planning of October 7th, then that is the Iranian government announcing that they have attacked Israel's soil on October 7th. So a lot of people, through its proxies, this attack right now was the first direct attack on Israeli soil from Iranian soil by the Iranian military directly, but technically the declaration of war was already made between the Iranian government and Israel on October 7th. Because now with this announcement, anything Israel does, because a lot of people will say like, okay, now that Israel has attacked Israeli soil with these missiles, now Israel's hands are open. But technically, Israel's hands should be considered open with the announcement that the Iranian government was involved in October 7th. Anything they do, including taking out the consulate or attacking Iranian soil, is technically now justified. You just took out, more than 1,000 of their civilians on their soil with your own admission. So I don't understand why anybody would think that, because a lot of people would say like, well, Israel shouldn't respond because the defense was so strong yesterday that nobody died in Israel. Well, you cannot make that argument now that October 7th is also part of what the Islamic Republic of Iran has done, because there are more than 1,000 people died. Right. So, yes, there. So war against the Iranian government is completely justified with this admission that October 7th was the plan of the Iranian government. So that's reason number 4. And also reason number 5, that the first ever attack from the Iranian soil on Israeli soil just demands a response. It's weird if you don't respond to that. It would be very strange, especially given that the country we're speaking is Israel. When Israel is attacked, Israel responds. That is within the nature of Israel. So, and also with this prime minister, like, even if Israel had a leftist prime minister, a very peace-loving, mellow, trying to de-escalate kind of prime minister, Israel is not a country, even with that prime minister, Israel is not a country that when it's attacked, it just doesn't respond. It has a history of responding, and is responding more than the attack you got. It's called demonstrating your deterrent capabilities. So even without Netanyahu, it would be strange for you to get attacked on your soil and not responding. But with Netanyahu specifically, that gets even more strange. Netanyahu is very trigger happy, right? So with this prime minister and with this country, it would be odd for us not to see a response. So those are all the reasons why you will see attack. I will give you 2 reasons why you won't see an attack, and then you could make up your mind which one of these are stronger. But before I go to the reasons why you won't see a response by Israel, do you want to see the super chats and the comments? Do you want to go through those?
Yes, that'd be great. Okay, so thank you everyone for the super chats. Like, you are keeping this channel alive. You are making sure that we defeat the YouTube gods.
Yes.
Wait, Armin, can you check to see if we're still monetized? We got a super chat from Obi Haley.
No.
Oh no.
We've been demonetized, guys. So thank you for all the super chats, because we have been demonetized. I don't know why, but okay. And it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Yes.
Obi Haley, thank you for this $5 super chat saying, sorry, my earlier comment was meant as an insult to the regime, not the great people of Iran who support freedom. That's totally okay, yeah. Obi. And in fact, it gave us the opportunity to remind people that there is the Islamic Republic that is holding Iran hostage. Also, this person, I just wanted to highlight this, saying Indonesia, the largest Muslim nation, the other day made a normalization of diplomacy with Israel. That was crazy. That's just a side note today. That's huge.
That's just a side note. The largest Muslim country in the world after October 7th and after the war in Gaza, I was like, hey, let's normalize ties with Israel. Let's normalize the relationship with Israel. Like, okay, all right, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Chauvin gave us 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you, Chauvin. Saying more than $200 million weapons used on fireworks for the people of the region. By the way, I love your shirt, Susanna. And then what does this say in Persian, Armin?
It's in Armin is like, they're making fun of the fact that I go pee a lot, saying like, pissy Armin, I love you. They're calling me pissy Armin. Hey, I stay hydrated, okay? You should too. Drink more water. Drink more water. Okay, but thank you for your super chat.
But yeah, merci, Chauvin John. Kenny gave us a 10 euro super sticker. Thank you, Kenny. Beatrice gave us 20 euros. Thank you, saying dreaming of a secular republic of Iran. We will see it one day, I swear.
Well, that depends. By the way, secular republic or secular whatever, depending on the referendum. So we don't know if it's going to be a republic, but secular for sure. Secular democracy. Yes. I just don't want to predetermine what the country
yeah. It remains to be determined, because that's a heated topic in the diaspora.
Yeah, that's a very heated calling it a republic already. By the way, I don't know if you know this. That's a very controversial. How about we call it a secular democracy of Iran? Because I don't want to open that can of worms here. But thank you for the super chat. If you want
I don't want them to come for me.
I don't want to. I got. Yes.
Charles gave a super chat. Thank you, saying, I have noticed a double standard. Positive statements about the Pahlavis elicit 1970s rhetoric about Savak, etc., which you never heard about Ataturk.
That was positive statements about the Pahlavis,
like people bringing up Savak when it comes to talking about anything positive that the Pahlavis did.
Yeah. By the way, the Savak, which was the intelligence with the intelligence agency of Iran during the previous during the Pahlavi time before the Islamic Republic of Iran, they were trained by Israelis. So we had good relationships. We had good relationships. Iran and Israel were good friends. We're buddies before the Islamic Republic.
It's so, but that reminds me of a comment I saw from Jean on one of our other posts, who was saying, "Don't worry, the people of Israel have a long memory. We know that we've been friends for centuries."
Yes. I mean, seriously, like they're natural. Iranian people and Israeli people are natural allies. Like in this wasteland of illiberalism in the Middle East, where they have these countries have the two highest populations of people that want liberalism, and they need each other. If we didn't have the Islamic Republic, this would have been the most natural alliance of two countries, of Iran and Israel. It's only because of the Islamic Republic of Iran that these two people cannot be with each other and help out each other. I mean, they still can help each other, but we'll see. Yeah.
HG Drake gave us $20. Thank you. That's so generous. Saying, here's money to counter YouTube wokeness and their censorship. Thank you for helping us fight the YouTube gods. Because, Atheist Republic, we have to fight every god, but our toughest battle yet are the YouTube gods.
Yes. They're stronger than Allah.
And that's why you need to subscribe to the channel, because this is what we're going to use the Atheist Republic army for. Okay, we are quickly approaching 50K, and we are utilizing the Atheist Republic militia to fight the YouTube gods.
After Allah, Jesus, and Yahweh, we're coming for the main God, the God of all gods, which is the YouTube algorithm. Yes.
Yeah, the other ones were light work. This one is proving difficult. Yes.
This is the final boss.
Nara gave us 10 euros. Thank you, saying, here's a tenner as my protest of your demonetization. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Angie gave us $2, saying the rest of the world doesn't want Israel to respond. Heartbreaking emoji. Well, I think we'll cover that a little bit soon. Norse Mythology gave $10, saying, please do a segment on Middle East Eye and other lying propaganda channels. Oh, Middle East Eye would be its own. There should be a whole channel exclusively dedicated to debunking their propaganda. Yusuf Dumphy gave a super chat asking, could the secular Iran be a federation?
No. Please, no. I could talk forever about why that's a horrible idea. Horrible idea, okay? No. We need a centralized government in Iran. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but because that will open a can of worms. But no federation.
Is it because of the separatism?
Yes, it's because of the separatism.
See, ethnic separatists, we can't have nice things.
Yes. Yeah.
Great Red Menace, great name, gave a super chat saying, just a reminder, the Islamic Republic literally bombed the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires in 1992, and now they complain about their consulates.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to go there, they attacked the U.S. Embassy on their own soil. It's very interesting that, like,
and also they use their diplomats to go try to bomb places in the middle of Europe, and then say that the person that tried to do that has diplomatic immunity, which is insanity.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Let me see. Mexico embassy. So Khamenei just came out and said this is like insane. Like. That our consulate was attacked, like this is against international norms and stuff. But
I'm
overall,
glad. I'm
if you
glad
think,
that someone recognizes that finally.
yeah. So here's the thing: think about the total attacks on or raids on embassies and consulates in the world, right? We had the recent, which is recently, we had Ecuador raiding the Mexico embassy on their own soil. So that's one. We had Ecuador again, Ecuador's embassy in the UK, where the police raided to get Julian Assange. So we got two Ecuadors. One of them just happened recently. That's weird. Then we have the Iranian proxies attack on U.S. embassy in Iraq, which led to the Qasem Soleimani being killed. That's three. And the remaining are Iran related, right? Oh, so then we have this recent attack by Israel in the attacking the Iranian consulate in Syria, right? So that's four. All of these four have not been by Iran, but now I have three that has been done by Iran. One of them I already mentioned, that was by Iranian proxies. The other one was taking of the hostages of the U.S. embassy in Iran right after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. So that was the Iranian government doing that, attacking UK embassy. Yeah, that exactly, exactly, attacking UK embassy in Iran, and attacking the Saudi Arabian embassy in Iran. So four. Let me see. What do we have? We have 3 and 4
What about
here.
Libya?
7. Oh yeah, Libya. So we have 8. So 4 out of 8 of these attacks on embassies and consulate that we have was done by Iranian government, or their proxies. So half of them was done by Iranian government. This is like rare, guys, but attacks on consulates and embassies are very, very rare, as Ayatollah Khamenei was correct to point out. But he doesn't mention that half of them were done by you. Right? Half of them were done by you. Okay, so mention that.
Oh my god.
So,
yeah, I'm like, I'm
right.
glad. Is someone reflecting on their own behavior? This is. Well, if this isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Yes, exactly.
Mars gave a super chat. Thank you, Mars, saying no comment, just passing along a contribution from Mossad. Keep the change. Thank you, my friend. And
Thank
Bull
you.
McLeod gave a super chat saying Persia will need a new emperor, Armin.
Oh, are you talking? Oh, me? Oh, thank you.
Well,
Don't do that to me. I will get assassinated. Okay. All right. So moving on. Ooh.
Someone also
Okay,
had a
moving
comment that maybe we should talk about this later, but the videos of people that were supporting the attack.
Yes, I saw that. But anyways, this is important. Why wouldn't Israel respond? I give you 2 reasons why they might not respond. First of all, the defense was too good, right? So they just did too good of a job stopping every goddamn, 99% of the missiles and drones, right? And zero casualties, and one major injury, which is so bad for the Islamic Republic of Iran that they only more than 300 missiles and drones, and the only injury that they managed to get had 3 characteristics, the person, that made it horrible for the Islamic Republic of Iran. First of all, it was a child. They sent 300 drones and missiles, and they managed to only injure a child. Second, and this is so horrible, it's really bad for the looks of it, right? Second of all, it's a girl. Third of all, she's Arab, right? So you managed to, from all the Israelis that you could have injured with all of these 300 drones and missiles, the one that you severely injured, by the way, was one of the, I think apparently one of the explosions, the shrapnel went through to her head. right? Yeah, a Muslim Bedouin kid. Oh, yeah, a Muslim Arab girl child, like that is the worst outcome that you could have gotten, right? Compared to relative, imagine this relative Israel used one missile. They took out 7 of your key military officials. One missile, 7 of the most, not just key. Zaidi was the most important military official in all of it, Iran's military. With one missile, they took out 7. You used 300 and you injured a Muslim Arab Israeli child. That's insane. The comparison is insane. But given how successful Israel defense was, a lot of people might, because when people are asking, oh, this is like, you could make this attack seem big or seem very small. There's 2 narratives. You can make it big, given that it was an attack from Iranian soil, given that there was 300 missiles and drones came at you, given that this was the first attack from Iran soils on Israel. The scale of the attack was huge, and you could focus on that and say, like, well, that requires a response. Or you could look at the results and bring it down. Be like, nobody died. We were so good at stopping this, so nothing huge happened, so it doesn't require a response. So if you focus on rather than the scale, if you focus on the results, that's an argument for not responding. Right? So that's reason number one for not responding. Reason number 2 is significant U.S. pressure. Significant U.S. pressure. Again, I'm not dismissing the fact that the reasons for responding was really high. You saw my list. I had 5 reasons why Israel would respond. But United States is begging and pressure, and U.S. pressure is high. Like, a lot of people act like Israel doesn't get pressure by United States, or United States has no influence over Israel. United States has a lot of influence over Israel.
Or
right?
that the US is like the puppet of Israel, it's so backwards.
Yes. The United States is pressuring. Remember when I told you that the Israeli government might be trying to drag the United States into a war because they don't have the military capabilities of taking some of the main nuclear sites of Iran? The United States, the Biden administration doesn't want that, because that would be political suicide for them. That will mean a Trump president, almost a guaranteed Trump presidency, right? So they are trying because if Israel responds, United States will have to get in this war. United States is not going to leave Israel alone. United States will support Israel if Israel goes to war with Iran. They cannot, they don't have a choice. They have to, right? And if United States goes into war with Iran, that would be crazy. That would end the Biden administration. And they're basically trying to pressure Israel so much. By the way, they both have leverages. United States has a lot of leverage over Israel because they're normalizing making the US aid to Israel conditional. That would be a severe blow to Israel. So they have that leverage over Israel. But Israel also has leverage over the United States, because Israel's government knows that United States will support it at the end of the day, right? United States, if they manage to go to war with the Iranian government, United States will have their back with full force. So that is the leverage that guarantee is the leverage that Israel has over the United States, right? So we'll see. But right now, the Biden administration is trying to do everything it possibly can to make Netanyahu not to drag United States into a war with Iran. So those are the 2 reasons. Now I can talk about the types of response. If Israel responds, what kind of response are we going to see? I could talk about that, but do you want to answer some of the super chats and stuff before we get into that?
Yeah, okay, so we got a few more super chats. Thank you, everyone. Unicorn is saying, "Love the shirt, Susie." Hi, Armin. And then she's
Hi.
also celebrating her 6-month membership, our lovely unicorn, and saying, "Did you buy that shirt somewhere? I want one." I bought this off of Etsy. This is the only version of this shirt I've ever been able to find. I think this is a one of one existing at this point. But I was thinking that the copyright on this shirt is probably expired by now. So what if we made reproductions?
Right. Yeah, we could do that. Um,
Just an
wait,
idea.
I wanted to.
And
Yeah,
also,
go on.
Raz Cohen just gave us 36 shekels with no comment. Thank you, Raz. And Arthur's asking, "Susanna, why aren't you smiling? Why do you look sad and angry all the time?" I'm just listening to Armin with attention while I also pay attention to the live chat. That's all. I'm focused.
Mm.
I'm very happy to be here.
By the way, I am blocked by Andrew Tate. I wanted to show you a tweet by Andrew Tate, but I'm blocked by this man, so I don't know if I can do it. I know other people have screenshots of his. Yes,
Oh,
I
he
am
was
still
like,
blocked.
basically, this is World War III. Like,
Yeah, I will
the
bring that up.
doomsday preppers are on the right side of history.
You know why I'm blocked by Andrew Tate? Because I was criticizing his defense of Islam, and I never knew that he would actually pay attention to these tweets and stuff. But eventually, I criticized a couple of his tweets, and then he eventually blocked me. But there's a tweet of him again regarding this this attack by the Iranian government on Israel, which is unhinged. So I wanted to show you guys that, but but I have a screenshot already. So even
Cool.
he blocked me, but yeah. So, anyways, are we done with the super chats? So let's go to the next.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So, will Israel respond? How would Israel respond if they respond? Right, because they could do three types of attack if they want to respond. They could go just a type of response that it was kind of like the attack that they got, that is just shows that we did a response, but it doesn't do much. Like, it's supposed to be something that Israel could show that we responded without actually doing something that the Iranian government will have to respond also to that, right? So, because Israel has promised that they will respond, it would be strange if they don't. But maybe they do a kind of response where the Iranian government could be like, haha, that was pathetic, nothing happened. So the Iranian government has the excuse not to escalate after. So that's one. The second type of response could be taking advantage of this unique opportunity to be able to take out key facilities or key areas within Iran. And there's two types of that, which I could talk about. And that would be the second type of response. The third type of response is to just go to a full frontal war and officially declare war on the Iranian government and just start a full-on escalation, like a kind of like a war that we have between, I don't know, Russia and Ukraine, right? So the difference between the second one and the third response is that it's not like you go and send your, I don't know, F-35s that you just, and just take out a couple of spots and then come out. Like, it's about like, no, we're going to on full-on war with a country. That's the highest level of escalation. So the third one seems unlikely. I don't think anyone wants that. I don't think Israel wants that. I don't think the Iranian government wants that. I don't think the United States wants that. So the third response is very unlikely because nobody wants that. The second response is what so many people are thinking, like, this is the chance that Israel has to do, to go out and take out some key spots. And the key places that they could take is either missile bases or nuclear bases. The problem with a lot of the key nuclear bases where they enrich uranium and stuff like that is that they heavily deep within the mountain, and you need like B-2 bombers or something that the US has to be able to take that. But a lot of the missile facilities are something that Israeli government could take without the help of the United States. And if you do it right, you could push back the Iranian capabilities when it comes to missile technology a lot if that is done right. So if there's a response, it could be one of these two. Either just a response that is mostly symbolic. It doesn't cause a lot of damage. It just shows shows to the world that Israel responded, and that's over. Or it could be something that it takes out strategic missile sites, or maybe nuclear sites. I don't know, but most likely missile sites, missile bases, right? So those are the kind of responses that we're looking at, right? One thing that people are talking about, the conspiracy, is that the Iranian government communicated this attack ahead of time so that Israel is capable of protecting itself, just so that the Iranian government has shown that they responded to the consulate attack without escalating, right?
Well, and this is what they did when Qasem Soleimani died.
Right. So there's two reasons why people suggest that this is what happened here. Because when Qasem Soleimani was killed, the Iranian government responded by taking a U.S. base in Ain al-Assad, and before they did that, they contacted the Trump administration. They announced that this attack is going to happen, so that not a single U.S. soldiers died, so that they could go home to their base and like, oh my God, we responded, but also as a way not to invite a U.S. attack on Iran. So that's one reason. That's number one, that why some people suggest maybe this was also communicated in advance with Israel, so that Israel has a chance to defend itself, so Iran doesn't have to escalate, the Iranian government doesn't have to escalate the war. Another reason why people suggest that this might have been communicated is because the attacks were slow. Like when they sent out the drones were going to take a couple of hours to reach Israel. Right, and even the cruise missiles that they sent, they were going to take at least 2 hours to reach Israel. So the ballistic missiles, they take less time, but the entire operation was done with no element of surprise. Like they sent in the drones, and everybody could see. Like people in Iraq were seeing the drones, people in Iran, they were videoing the drones. The drones were flying at very low altitude, so people could just see them flying right above their head and recording them and laughing at them and making fun of them. But it was basically we got up, like we got an announcement like, oh my God, Iran attacked Israel, and we're like, oh my God, I was looking for explosions in Israel. Like, yeah, they're gonna reach there in a couple of hours, and like, okay, and
I got the news at 1:30, and then I was like, oh, I guess I just gotta wait a few hours to see what happens. Okay, well, I'll go call and check up on some people in the meantime. Like, it's so
right. So people in Iran, to make fun of that, were posting this meme. Hold on, of Mr. Bean waiting. This famous Bean. Right. So like people were like Israelis waiting for the Iranian drones to arrive because it was just taking so long for them to reach Israel. And this meme was one of the popular memes during those hours. So
Iranians. No.
Right.
Like, guys, this is serious, okay?
So a lot of people were saying like maybe the Iranian government did this so that they have advance notice, so that there's not that much of damage. So these are the arguments for why this was communicated, or this was meant to not have that much of damage. But there are some counter arguments for why no, this was not meant to have low casualties, and they just failed. And the reasons for that is that why 300, right? If you were going to make an attack that was not supposed to kill anybody, and it was just supposed to be like, oh my God, we responded, we strong, let's go home and call it, like, just act like nothing happened. This is expensive. Okay, 300 drones and missiles, ballistic missiles and cruise missiles, that is not cheap. You could have done that. You could have sent the same message with, I don't know, 20, right? If you were not trying to get any damages, that would have sent the same message. So 300 is what you do when you try to overwhelm their defense system. So some people are like, no, this was not meant to not kill anybody, or not meant to be low damages, because why would you go so heavy on your attack if that was the goal? And some other people are saying this might seem like funny that it took that many hours for it to get there. But actually, if you look at it strategically, if you were trying to cause serious damage, it makes sense, because the missiles, when you hit the missiles are going to get there faster than the drones, right? So the drones were supposed to get to Israel at the same time that the drones arrive, because the main purpose
You
of the
mean the
drones
missiles?
is for
You
no,
repeated yourself.
okay, so the drones and the missiles are supposed to arrive at Israel at the same time. Why? What the purpose of the drone is to occupy the defense system of Israel so that the drones could hit. So the drones by themselves might not be able to do much, but the drones require the defense mechanism of Israel, of the IDF, to do something. You cannot just let them, you cannot be like, oh, it's just drones. If you don't do anything, they're going to hit something. So you need to respond to them. And by using your systems to respond to them, the missiles will have a higher likelihood of hitting something, because you're overwhelming the system. So the reason why the drones were sent that long in advance is because the missiles, when they threw the missiles, they were reaching there in 2 hours, so they had to send the drones many hours in advance, just so that they could match the time that they reach Israel, the soil of Israel. So given that seemed to be the strategy, it seems like maximum damage was actually the goal. And given that the maximum damage was actually the goal, this just seems like a failure rather than an attempt to have low casualties and low damages. Again, I'm not saying which one is true, because I could see both sides of this argument, given Iran's history, in the Iranian government's history in hitting US bases and communicating that, and given how easy it was for Israel to see this attack coming. I could see why some people will argue that this was intentionally meant to have low damages, but I could also see why people say, like, no, this militarily, seems like an operation. It doesn't make sense to do it 300, and also the slow process of that, it actually makes sense, because you had to send the drones many hours in advance just to make sure that they hit Israel at the same time of the missiles. So I don't know which one of these is true. I can see why both sides have some good points on this, right? So there's that. Do you want to respond to some of the comments in the chat before I go to? Let me see. Yeah. Before I go to the next comments. Yeah.
Well, okay. I want to read a few things, and then also I have a comment myself. So Secular Sakai gave a super sticker. Thank you, my friend Sakai. Rule of Law gave a $100 Australian super sticker. Wait, no, this isn't Australian dollars. What is AED? What currency is that? And then Rule of Law also gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you so much, Rule of Law. That's so generous.
Oh, UAE. UAE.
Yes. Hell yeah, my friend.
Thank you.
And Young Atheist was one of the recipients of Rule of Law's gifted membership, and he's saying thank you. And also, it's good to see you again, Young Atheist. I hope you're doing well. I worry about him sometimes. It's hard being a young atheist kid in Pakistan. So I'm always happy when I see him here. One thing that I wanted to say is that there are many people I'm seeing saying that, oh, well, Armin, I needed you to respond to this. I'll let him go pee.
Okay.
Do you want to go
back?
pee?
Come back. I'll go. Yeah, I'll go back. I'll go.
We have to do like musical chairs with our bathroom breaks, you guys. You know, this is the difficulty of streaming. Let me see if there's anything quickly I want to respond to in the live chat. Randomly, a lot of people are talking about if the Romans were vegans or not. Oh, and Vikram, our friend Vikram, got one of the gifted memberships. That's awesome. Okay. So one of the things that I think we really need to talk about is two things. One, when this attack happened, Darko was saying the Iranian regime is doing a self-deletion, it seems. That was one of my initial reactions. I'm like, these people aren't dumb. Like, as much as
I will get to
like
that.
I hate the Islamic Republic to the core of my body, but they do not last this long by being completely irrational, right? And so I was like, what the hell is this? Are they suicidal? And then the other things we need to touch on, Armin, eventually are the people we did see celebrating this attack inside Iran, and then also the people celebrating this outside of Iran. I do want to talk about that, but what were this is what I wanted to say before you left, was basically I've seen a lot of people saying that Israel has to respond very heavily because they cannot tolerate setting a new norm of Iran firing missiles at Israel and not responding heavily. Like, they have to respond heavily, otherwise they invite this to be the new normal, the way that it is the new normal, that they're just like missiles and rockets coming at them from Gaza.
Yes, and
Like
that's true.
that's the norm. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
this cannot be the norm.
Yeah, and it's also true that now from now, Israel, whatever it does against Iran, it's justified. So they have now an excuse every time. So Israel has been given the justifications from now on, from forever, to do whatever internationally, whatever when it comes to international law. Nobody should be able to say that, oh, Israel, what you did here was not justified against the Iranian government. You just had the largest scale air attack on your country in the in recent history. I mean, you have to go back to 1967 or 1948 to see something similar to anything like this happening to Israel. So this is such a green card to Israel to be able to do whatever it wants. But I do want to get to that question on why would Iran do this? Are they suicidal? And no, they're not. They're actually incredibly smart, and what they did makes sense. I will tell you why they did that. What made the Iranian government decide to do this? Because unlike a lot of other analysts out there who are predicting that this attack, such a thing, will never happen by the Iranian government, on the Persian show, you can see I was actually saying, like, why are people saying this? I could completely see why the Iranian government will make such an attack, and I will tell you exactly what I was thinking. That why, what were they? Because again, this was such a win for Israel. Why is the Iranian government? Did the Iranian government not know what a major win would this be for Israel? They did know that, but they care about something else more. You have to understand, a lot of people, when they look at foreign policies and war and countries competing with each other and going to war with each other, they don't understand that most politics are internal politics. They look at, like, oh, what is Russia doing against Ukraine, or what is China doing against United States, or what is the Islamic Republic of Iran doing against Israel. And they don't understand that what motivates a lot of these people to do what they're doing, instead of looking externally, you have most of the time the justifications or the motivations behind the things come from the politics, the internal politics of their own country. And this is true about in Iran, in Israel, in the United States, in Russia, everywhere, right? Some people say all politics is internal politics. I wouldn't go that far. I would say like maybe 90% is internal politics. So I will tell you why they were doing that. But before I tell you why the Islamic Republic of Iran handed such a gift to Israel, I wanted to go to a little bit of more detail for why it was such a gift. Israel just advertised its deterrent capabilities, its defense capabilities to the world, and internally. So it showed its enemies that, yeah, we can actually defend ourselves. Don't let October 7th tell you otherwise. We are fully capable of defending ourselves. And it also gave a lot of more self-confidence and pride to the Israeli people, which they needed a lot. They needed this after October 7th. So that was such a gift to the Israeli people by the Iranian government. And also, it's now back on being on being looking like the underdog. So on October 7th, Israel looked like the underdog. Because of the war in Gaza, they look like the oppressors. Now they look like the underdog again. So when it comes to the international image, this helps them. And again, when you attack a country like this, when the Iran government attacks a country like this, it does it so it advertises its deterrent capabilities to the world. But when that attack fails, not only did you not advertise your deterrent capabilities, in effect, you advertise their deterrent capabilities by doing so. So this backfired. In that case, it backfired on the Islamic Republic of Iran. Also, when it comes to the war in Gaza, this really helps Israel because it takes the attention away from the war in Gaza. But I don't understand why so many Palestinians in Gaza were celebrating these attacks. I don't know if you see all of the people, a lot of people in Gaza were apparently celebrating. They were happy that a lot of people in Jerusalem, it's like they were celebrating this. They were like, yay, Iran is in our defense. They don't know that they're screwed because of this. They don't understand that their attention, under the when the attentions are directed away, the Israeli government will feel more free to do whatever it wants in Gaza. Also, I don't understand if people in Gaza know that now a lot of support for the Israeli government will now increase. A lot of the people, because of what's happening in Gaza, because of all the people who are dying in Gaza, a lot of governments around the world were like trying to move away from support, acting like they're moving away from supporting Israel. And now the full support for Israel is now increasing massively. So I don't understand why people in Gaza, I don't think the people in Gaza understood how they got screwed heavily right now by the Iranian government. They feel like they got support, but this was such a everything that they managed to get when it comes to building a narrative against Israel over a night, a lot of it was lost. All right, so there's that. Now let's go to the main question that a lot of people are asking, is that why would the Iranian government do this? All right, why would the Iranian government do such a thing? And I told you that it's about internal politics, right? So when it comes to, a lot of people think that such an attack, if Israel attacks Iran, that could make the regime, that could be the end of the Islamic Republic, that could destroy the regime. But what you have to understand that the greatest threat, let's look at the threats against the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? We have two internal threats and one external threat, right? So if the Islamic Republic of Iran is one day toppled, a lot of people, there are two things that people imagine mostly that happened, that made the Islamic Republic topple, when it comes to people imagining that day. It's either because of a foreign country attacked, either like Israel or United States, or because the people in Iran stood up and they did a revolution, and that led to a full-on uprising that they or started a coup, or it's just the people taking out the government. Those are the two things people imagine. But there's a third one that the Islamic Republic of Iran has shown to be the most afraid of, not relative to these other two. And like the second one, this is also internal. Susie, do you know what I'm referring to? What among all the things that the Islamic Republic of Iran is afraid of? So I just told you two. One, that could topple the regime, like let's say foreign attack. Two, the people rising up against the government. But the third one, that the Islamic Republic of Iran considers the greatest threat, and people don't talk about often. What is that, Susie?
I am assuming you are referring to their own hardliners being more extreme than they are and going
Right.
a little cuckoo crazy on their ass.
Right. So yes, we have two, not one, but two revolutionary forces within Iran, a secular majority one, and a crazy cuckoo minority religious one who might think that the Islamic Republic of Iran is not Islamic enough. Now, this is a force that is not yet materialized, but it looks like it might. And you have to understand that the Islamic Republic of Iran has less than 10% support. I would say less than 8% support. I would assume support in in Iran. Okay, if this 8% is a very important 8%, guys, I know dictators don't need elections, but they need support. Okay, if your support drops behind a certain level, even a dictator cannot stay in power. 8% is already too goddamn low. If it reaches 7%, 6%, 5%, I don't think any regime would be able to maintain power with 4% support. You know, when you have this many people against your regime, I don't think no amount of military will be able to keep you in power. So maintaining this 8% is extremely crucial. And this 8% is the 8% that are hardliners, that are freaking religious, like extremely religious, and they are willing to sacrifice everything to give the flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran to the coming Mahdi, the 12th Imam, the Imam of time at the end of days. And Iran is supposed to be the land that this regime hands over to the Mahdi. Right?
The guys, for those who are not familiar, this is full apocalyptic death cult.
Right.
It's full apocalyptic death cult. Like, people don't understand that. This is about the apocalypse. That's what, just to be clear.
Yes. So this means that so these are people that don't want the Islamic Republic of Iran to even be the Islamic Republic. Like, they are against the republic nature of the, anyways. But these are the people who support the regime, but the regime needs to be Islamic, right? And there are two things that could make these people against the regime, right? So the other people, the secular people, the majority of the people, they're against the regime because the regime is Islamic, because the regime is oppressing them, because the regime is executing them, because the regime is mandating religious rule on people, because of the economy is hard, you know, all of this, everything, right? So that's the reason why the vast majority of the Iranian people are against the regime. But these groups of people, they get very, very angry when they see signs that their regime is not doing enough to make this country, keep this country Islamic, right? And the main two things that pisses them off and turns them against the regime, and the only thing, by the way, is holding a lot of these people is their love for Khamenei. You know, because a lot of these people, they still love Khamenei and loyal to them, but they're against everything else in the regime. Everything else in the regime. Imagine, they love Khamenei, and the only reason why Susie, the only reason why a lot of these people support the Islamic Republic of Iran is because they love Khamenei. I don't know what these people are going to do when Khamenei dies, because they hate everything else against the regime.
It's a personality cult.
And yes, they think that all the horrible things that are happening, women not wearing their hijab, people are becoming more liberal, is because the regime is not doing its job, because the regime is not listening to Khamenei. Like, Khamenei is alone. Just like Ali was alone, Khamenei is now being left alone. And they always cry. They're like, oh, you know, we're not the people of Kufa leaving Ali alone. They cry about it. They cry about Khamenei being alone. And no, they think that the entire regime of the Islamic Republic is not listening to Khamenei. And if they just listen to Khamenei, everything will be good. That's what they think. They cry about it. Anyways, so the two things that pisses off these people. Yeah, Yo Ali, exactly. The two things.
No, and it's so funny to me because, like, Khamenei is so freaking cringe. Like, the regime sucks all around, but Khamenei is so cringe. I'm sorry, continue.
Right. So the two things that pisses these people off, and this is why on our show in Persian, a lot of people think that, oh, the hijab removal is not that big of a deal. We have bigger, more important things to worry about when it comes to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I was always against that narrative, because the two things that pisses these people off is, one, women without hijab walking in the streets of Iran. Two, weakness. Emotional death. Yes, exactly.
Emotional. Damn.
Right. So this is important, guys. So when the women of Iran, a lot of them might not even know this, a lot of them understand this, but when they take off their hijab, I know it might seem like this is just an act for the freedom of not wearing the hijab, but it's so much more than that, because it's literally turning the base of the Islamic Republic against the Islamic Republic. Woman without hijab is a sign to this base that this is not Islamic land, that the regime is not doing its job, that the regime is not enforcing Islamic law. There's a whole bunch of other things, like people dancing, people celebrating since the Badr, even though it's like Ramadan, even though it's supposed to be a time that somebody died and you're supposed to be crying and mourning and people are celebrating, music, all that, but it's mainly the hijab. Women walking in the streets with their hair showing is the most visible demonstration that the Islamic Republic of Iran is not enforcing Islam on this land and is turning these people against the government, right? So you could either rise up against the government yourself, or you could turn Frankenstein's monster against Dr. Frankenstein himself, because these are the dogs that the Islamic Republic of Iran trained to use against its own people. But now these wild dogs are now turning on the government itself, and with taking off their hijab is one of the ways that you could do that, because to make these people turn on the government itself. And the Islamic Republic of Iran is really afraid of these people more than anything else. So that's number one. Number two is that if Israel attacks, or if the United States attacks and you don't respond, so other than hijab, the Islamic Republic of Iran not standing up to its enemy, because these people have been promised the full destruction of Israel, right? And the United States. You have to understand that a lot of these people understand that the United States is a superpower, and the destruction of the United States is not going to come anytime soon. It will in their mind, but not anytime soon. United States, they accept that the United States as a country is more powerful than them. But they see themselves at the same level as of Israel. They do not accept Israel attacking, taking out such a top military official. A lot of these people are still butthurt over Qasem Soleimani being attacked and them not having a significant response to that. At first, they were trying to fool themselves, and some of them still are capable of fooling themselves. They act like the Islamic Republic of Iran responded to the attack on Qasem Soleimani, and many Americans died. So the attacks on Ain al-Assad, that no Americans died. A lot of these hardliners to this day have convinced themselves that many Americans were killed in that attack, even though not a single American was
hearing
killed.
damage, and maybe that was it.
No,
the cope is insane.
The cope is insane, right? But the ones that eventually realize that killed nobody are furious. And now, after the attack on the consulate, they were like, okay, fool me once when it comes to a hard revenge, shame on you. But now we want to see a response. We want to see a strong response. And the Islamic Republic of Iran, they need to satisfy these people. They need to so a lot of people, when they are asking, is the Islamic Republic of Iran suicidal? They had to respond to Israel exactly because they're not suicidal. And these people are now becoming more and more, they're questioning their support for the Islamic Republic more and more every day. And for Israel to be able to attack a consulate and the Islamic Republic of Iran not responding to that in a way that satisfies these people is the greatest threat to the Islamic Republic of Iran. So you think like they're suicidal? No, if they didn't respond, that would be suicidal. Losing this space support is the most suicidal thing that the Islamic Republic could do. That would be a bigger threat than Israel attacking, that would be a bigger threat than 300 people, secular revolutionaries showing up in the streets of Iran and chanting death to Khamenei. This would be a greater threat. Do you guys understand this? This is something you don't hear other places. This is why the Islamic Republic responded. It's the same reason why they still do executions, because they need to satisfy the space. I didn't understand why so many analysts were saying that Iran will not do such a response. If you go watch my Persian show, a lot of people were saying that Iran would not respond. And I was like, do you not see what their base is saying? The reason why I kind of expected a response like this to happen was because I hang out in their room. Like, I don't just listen to the opposition. I have, when I'm on Iranian media and Iranian rooms and Iranian social media and YouTube channels and listening to the people there, a lot of the anti-government activists, they just stick to their own side and they listen to their own side. I spend a lot of my time listening to the pro-regime content creators and their community and what they're saying, what they're crying about, right? Right now, if you go on YouTube channels of people who are supporting the Islamic Republic of Iran and on their Instagram channels and on their Telegram accounts, you could see that they're trying to act like this attack on Israel destroyed Israel. They were waiting for this, and you have no idea the levels of exaggeration. This is complete deja vu for me. When Iranian government hit Ain al-Assad, this was exactly what they were doing. They were acting like this was the greatest massive attack on Israel, on US in the history. Like, nobody except the Islamic Republic would have dared do any attack like this on the United States ever since World War II. They were saying what the government did in Ain al-Assad was the greatest attack on United States since World War II, an attack that literally nobody died. Okay, now they're doing the same thing. They're like, this attack that only they hit only a child. They're acting like so many people have died, so many people have been injured, and Israelis are crying. They're running away. They're pissing themselves. They even say that some people in Israel have died from fear. They always say that every time there's an attack, they say that, oh, this many. They have precise numbers. I don't know where they get this from. They're like, oh, by the way, 48, for example, Israelis just died from fear alone because we're so scary, right? I don't know where they get these numbers from. But by the way, if
shitting themselves to death, the rest had heart attacks. What?
Yes. By the way, if you speak Persian, I'm going to be doing a review on one of these videos, like one of these Arzishi, we call them Arzishi, one of these hardliner, radical, pro-regime people, pro-Khamenei people. The way that they're trying to act like this was such a strong response. It's in Persian, so I'm not going to do it in English. But if you speak in Persian, I'm going to go line by line through one of them on our Persian channel, so people could see how insane these people are, right? But I knew, so just like we were right that taking off the hijab is such a powerful force, because when people were taking off the hijab, a lot of Iranians were like, this is such a nothing. We need to do something else. We need to do, like, they were asking for other more violent, more extreme measures against the government. But we were always saying, oh, the taking off the hijab is very, very powerful, and it's going to turn a lot of these people against the regime. And we were right about that prediction. That came true. We showed you a lot of their internal secret memos came out, and you could see how much they're turning on each other over just the hijab, right? And we were also correct on the Persian side about this attack being likely, given the amount of pressure it exists against the regime from their base to have such a strong response. And also, I think the Israeli government knew as well. But go on.
Well, one thing that we haven't even talked about is at the same time that, well, not the same time because it was in the morning or in the middle of the night, but as the people are saying, or Iranians are saying that, no, you guys don't understand. This is a two-front attack, because not only were they launching missiles against Israel, they have been launching hardcore crackdowns on hijab non-compliance.
Right at the same time.
We haven't even talked about that.
No, that's also a confirmation of everything we're saying. So a lot of people didn't understand. Right after the consulate attack, I mean, a few days after the consulate attack, and right like 24 hours before this attack happened on Israel, the Iranian regime attacked Israel soil with this 300 drones and missiles. Khamenei was coming out and speaking about hijab and how important hijab laws are. And right within hours before this attack, we had in the streets of Iran, and now also after, we had the high enforcement of hijab is back right before these attacks. And people are like, why is everybody is wondering whether the Iranian regime is going to attack Israel or not? And Khamenei is coming out and saying like, okay, so passively saying that Israel will pay a heavy price for this, but also focusing most of his attention on enforcing hijab laws in Tehran. And people are like, why at this point in time, like your country might be going to war with another country and you're talking about enforcing hijab laws in the streets? People couldn't see the connections, but I hope now you see the connection. When Khamenei is coming out and speaking, he's trying to tell his base, I got you. Don't leave me. Don't leave me alone here. I am going to keep this Islamic. I'm going to stand up to Israel. I'm going to enforce the hijab laws. We are going to keep this Islamic. We're going to be fighting the enemies of Islam. Don't leave me alone. Have faith in me. Because everybody is saying Khamenei is becoming more and more depressed. He feels alone. A lot of people, there's a lot of reports from Iran. Like there's a lot of high officials are saying that a lot of people who had pictures of Khamenei in their home, even the Basijis, even IRGC members, when they visit their homes, they're saying that we're seeing less and less pictures of Khamenei in these people's home, right? We're saying for the first time, we see Khamenei was giving a speech, and some of the Basijis in the front line, they were shouting, they were asking questions, they were shouting at Khamenei. That was insane.
That was crazy.
That was insane, right? So Khamenei, when he's saying Israel will regret this, and also saying hijab laws will be enforced, these are connected because they are scared. They're scared to the core, because this is the one thing that is, and they're right. This is logical. So the attack on Israel was logical from their perspective, and they were right, because there's nothing else that could topple them like this if they lose their base. And again, this is why the death of Khamenei is going to be such a historical major event, because we're going to have to see this is the one last duct tape that is keeping a lot of these hardliners with the Islamic Republic is Khamenei. So a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen after his death. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's go through a couple super chats right now. I love this. Jewish Pirate gave us a 25 Canadian dollar super sticker. Thank you, Jewish Pirate. Amazing name.
Yes, I love that.
Benny Wolf also gave a super sticker. Thank you, Benny. And Baphomet Buster is his icon Kaveh the blacksmith? Because if so, that's really cool. Saying, hoping this military conflict doesn't extend to the whole Middle East region and globally, so easy to fuel hatred between peoples and destroy everything. Yes, let me tell you. Go ahead.
Except this is one of the only times that such a escalation is not causing hate because when you have country A going to war with country B, you see country B people shit talking country A people and vice versa. But this is one of the first wars. I don't know if there's any other war in history that is like that. That this is not happening from the Iranian, the Iranian side is supporting Israeli people, and a lot of them are supporting Israeli people, and a lot of Israelis are supporting the Iranian people, right? So there's a connection. There's not hate between Iranian people and Israeli people, even though the Islamic Republic is attacking Israel. The love and connection between Israeli and Iranian people, it not only is strong, not only this is not making it is causing hate between them, it's actually increasing their support for each other. I don't know if this has ever happened in history. If it
I know
has,
it's
let
so.
me know. Yeah, right.
And Yusuf Dumphy gave a super chat, thank you, saying, should the secular Iran remain a unitary state? And do you mean should it have the same
Oh yeah.
territorial integrity? We are
Yes.
hardcore supporters of Iranian territorial integrity.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-mm.
It would
That
be
is non-negotiable.
devastating. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Ahmed, this is so sweet. Saying thank you. I've learned a lot from this stream. Well, thank you.
Well, you're
Make
welcome.
sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We have more people watching live right now than we have ever had. This is a record-breaking stream. So subscribe.
Yes.
We do this every week. We didn't even cover the news this week, and we have so many juicy stories that we still need to cover. So make sure to tune in
Yes.
next week because we have so much stuff on the back burner that we need to get to. It's insane.
Yeah, subscribe. Make sure you guys, don't just subscribe, hit the bell notification on YouTube because and if you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you come on YouTube Atheist Republic and hit subscribe and the bell notification, because when me and Susanna go live, the subscribe is not going to tell you a lot of times that we're live. The bell notification, you have to hit that so that it tells you that we're live. And also, guys, don't forget to like the stream. If you like the stream, this more people are going to end up seeing this, and we give a lot of good juicy information here. You know, you don't see a lot of this information.
Where else are you going to hear that we have people in our Atheist Republic community being like, yes, Israel, come in, save me,
save us, save us, please help us out here.
Iranian friends that like are begging me to vote for Trump because they are begging for a direct assault on their territory. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
not that everybody, I don't want to act like that everybody feels like that. There's like a lot of disagreements over this, but there's also a huge number of people that want this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Susie is. I was just gonna say something really quick. I forgot. But anyways, I wanted to show you while Susie is away. I want to show you this tweet by Andrew Tate.
I just wanted to fix my lighting.
Oh, you're back. Okay. You go ahead. Then I will. I have to review this tweet by Andrew Tate because that was insane. That the take is insane.
Yeah. Well, and then I also want to talk about
this is what I remember. I have to say this before I forget. A lot of Iranians, well, not a lot, some Iranians usually argue that Israel has to come and save Iranian people because Iran once did this for Israeli people, right? Back in the day, just like, I don't know, maybe 2,300, 2,500 years ago, 2,500 years ago, Cyrus the Great saved Israel from the invasion from the of Babylonians, right? So Israeli people became free because Cyrus the Great came out and invaded and set the Israeli people free. So a lot of Iranians like, you owe us. Now it's your turn to come and save us from our oppressors. We saved we saved the Jews. I mean, this is a joke, by the way. We saved the Jews from their oppressors, so now the Jews need to save the Iranian people from their oppressors. Right.
Cyrus the Great is a Zionist confirmed.
Yeah, yeah, he was actually. Yeah.
Right. Great Red Menace gave a super chat saying, Iran right now sounds so like the last years of the Spanish dictatorship under Franco in the 1970s, waiting for Khamenei to finally die. It's going to be a wild time. And that man is old and he's had cancer and he has health issues and he's trying to line up his son to take things over. The people they're not liking it. There's no good options about who's going to be the next supreme leader. It's going to be a shit show. HD Drake gave $10. Thank you. Saying, thanks for the inside info, Armin. Response to random historical questions. The Romans invented bacon, so no, not vegans. Thank you to the Romans then. Though the Pythagoreans were vegetarians who hated fava beans. If you hate fava beans, you are no friend of mine, because that means that you cannot make bagli polo. And bagli polo is
Pythagoras was Greek, not Roman, I think, huh? Was he Greek? He was Greek. But I'm sure he had Roman supporters. Anyways,
so one
we
thing
should.
that I think it's important to talk about, though, is two things. Like the Persian pharaoh is bringing up the people that we saw within Iran celebrating this, like in it's Tehran where they have Palestine Square, right? And there's like fireworks going off and stuff there. And then also a bunch of people celebrating this in the West. And there were images of, for example, a pro-Palestine, supposedly, because I don't think these people really are pro-Palestinian people. An announcement going out to this crowd of the attack and people celebrating in the streets. And yeah, so Dee was saying, yeah, the ceasefire crowds are celebrating. And it's very weird to see like the ceasefire crowds like celebrating October 7th, celebrating Iran attacking Israel. Like so many people were joking on Twitter, like, I guess the ceasefire crowds are really just more fire crowds.
No, so ceasefire crowds are basically seize Israel defending itself crowd. When it comes to attacking Israel,
saying from the beginning, and it's like we don't even have to make these arguments anymore because these people are exactly what we've been telling you.
Yes, so it's never ceasefire when you're attacking Israel. It's only ceasefire when Israel is defending itself. That's when you want ceasefire.
And it's just so ironic because so over the past, like, about 2 weeks, when Israel attacked the consulate in Syria, we have been seeing all this large amounts of the pro-Palestinian crowd come out and explicitly supporting the Islamic Republic.
Yes.
And
it was
part of me is like, okay, thank God, because we have been telling people that this is what this means, that this is what these people are aligned with, that this is the essence of their character, and we don't even have to just be like, guys, this is the result of this line of thinking anymore. They come out and say it for us now. Like, I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was like, the snakes are exposing themselves. We don't have to be like, hey, guys, believe us that this is the result of this line of thinking. They're coming out and saying it now. And it has like never been more explicitly clear to like the freedom-loving liberal Iranian people that this is not a movement for them. And Armin, I've been wondering if you could like give some reactions to that, because I know you've been talking on the Persian side, giving examples of these like white Western leftists who are coming out and being like, support like the women life freedom movement failed. Like, we need to support the Islamic Republic. They're the only one countering like the Zionist axis of the world. Like,
well, what you sent me was worse. It wasn't like it failed. They were celebrating that it failed.
Yeah.
There were these white Americans, leftist Americans, who are saying, well, thank God that the woman life freedom movement failed, and they were making, and we were like, all of you American leftists, they were telling their own base, their own supporters, that you shouldn't have supported the woman life freedom movement, because imagine if we had succeeded and we wouldn't have the Islamic Republic of Iran supporting Palestinians and fighting Zionism. They're saying to their own people, to their own followers, how stupid were you that you were supporting a movement that was standing up against the greatest force against Zionism. They're actively choosing the Islamic Republic of Iran to support these so-called leftists over the Iranian women and let's be fair, and men fighting their oppressors. And these are people who are supposed to be standing up to oppressors. They're supporting one of the most oppressive regimes in the world against their own people because it's anti-Zionist, because it's the greatest anti-Zionist force. It's unbelievable. None of these people, by the way, will be able to survive. Like they're living such distant lives from all the hardships that all these other people. Whenever it comes to Palestine or Israel or Iran, these are people who have never even experienced feeling what it's like to maybe have your country destroyed, or being bombs dropped on top of you, or maybe your country going to war, or the price of things doubling every year, or not being able to feed your children. Like, they have never experienced, like, this is a hobby for them. They're
It
like,
really is.
they are,
It's a LARP and it's disgusting.
yes,
I sent Armin a video of this one woman. I don't even think we can show it on YouTube. She's like probably, I don't know, 19, 22 years old, ranting about how she wishes that October 7th was more violent. It's horrific.
yeah.
And I'm like, these people don't give a fuck about Middle Eastern life. How can you say that you want these things to be more deadly, more violent, and then be like, oh yeah, I care so much about the livelihoods of people in the Middle East? What the it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
And but Armin, when you were saying like, oh, how can these people turn around and say this? I'm not surprised by this at all, because I did not see progressives supporting the women life freedom movement.
Right.
I didn't see it. Not in America.
You're right, actually.
And then when I was looking overseas, the only leftists who were supporting it were communists, and the communists that were supporting it, at least when I was in Vienna, would then go tell the Iranian people, no, you're not allowed to fly the lion and sun flag. No. Then they would then go police what actual Iranians who risk their lives to leave the fucking country, because in Vienna, it's a very high population of refugees. They're like, no, you're not allowed to fly your own flag. No, in fact, but we're going to allow Kurdish separatist communist flags to fly. No questions there. We're going to support ethnic separatism, but we're not going to let these people who are now on this like mission to overturn a regime that systematically tortures and rapes them. Now we're going to say, oh, no, you can't fly that because that's a symbol of the monarchy. No. We're now going to police. We, the communists, the feminist communist Austrians, the white people, are now going to go police what you're allowed to fly and what you're. It's disgusting. So disgusting.
Right.
Not to mention when I've been here in the US, I've been seeing socialists come to Iranian events and try to co-opt the work that Iranian activists were doing to organize these events, and just tack their little socialist flyers onto the side and co-opt it as if they put in the work to organize these events. Meanwhile, the Iranians in the community, the local community who put in the work to try to mobilize the community, are literally saying, please leave. We do not want you here. You are not welcome here. And then they try to lecture the Iranians who are putting in the work and time and effort to raise awareness about what their friends and family are going through, then lecturing them about how the real issue is capitalism. It's fucking reprehensible.
Yeah, not only that, even within our own atheist communities, the ones that were associated with having left-leaning views, they didn't come out to support, to say anything about the greatest secular movement in the history of the world. The woman life freedom, even relative to the age of the revolution in France, age of enlightenment, that was not as aggressively secular or even atheistic as the one that we're saying with the woman life freedom. When you see such a high population leaving out religion, and even the people who remain religious are pro-secularism in such high numbers, this was the most secular movement in the history of any nation, any revolution. No revolution was this not only secular, but also heavily atheistic, not atheistic, anti-religion. I would say, let me correct myself, not atheistic, heavily anti-religion. Okay. And you had, when it comes to the greatest YouTube content creators, the ones that came out and talked about it were the ex-Muslim ones. For example, Apostate Prophet, dedicated covering that, right? Or Harris Sultan, dedicated covering that. But look at all the Americans and the British, the greatest atheist YouTubers that are considered more left-leaning. Rationality Rules, nothing. And here's the thing, I contacted him. He saw my messages. Nothing about an atheist YouTube channel that has covered stuff like this before. Nothing about the greatest secular movement. Cosmic Skeptic, nothing. I messaged him. He saw my messages. We were friends. He saw my message. He completely ignored. I told him to cover this. Nothing. Genetically Modified Skeptic. These are the biggest English YouTube channels, atheist YouTube channels. No coverage of the greatest secular movement in the history. Like, if this was not the time for you to come and speak about this, I can't. Matt Dillahunty, nothing. To be fair, the ACA, who is also considered left-leaning, they covered it. Okay, so let's be fair. One channel that is considered to see more left-leaning, they covered it. But nothing from Matt Dillahunty, nothing from Cosmic Skeptic, nothing from Genetically Modified Skeptic, nothing from Rationality Rules, even though they saw my messages asking them, begging them to cover this.
Yeah, I know, especially when Matt Dillahunty is one of the first people to jump down someone's throat over progressive issues.
Right, exactly. All right, I do want to highlight this tweet from Andrew Tate about the Iran-Israel issue, but do you want to do some comments before I go to the Andrew Tate one?
Did we get any? Oh, we did get a few more super chats. Angie, thank you for the super chat saying, to all the Iranians, wish it was easier to do a favor, sending love from Israel. Hopefully your lonely leader will fall soon. That's very sweet, Angie. Jean, also from Israel, thank you for the super chat, saying the Free Post published a video of a bunch of Americans learning how to chant death to America in Farsi. So freaking cringe. Really, what we should be saying is Marhaba Jumhuriye Islami and Ami Sarahai in the same sentence. Little Light also gave a $5 super chat with no comment. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bring forward this Andrew Tate.
All right. So first, before I show the tweet, the reason why I'm not showing it on Twitter is because Andrew Tate has blocked me because he's such a baby. He's such a little baby. He can't take criticism. I thought this guy was supposed to be alpha. Look at him with his like acting like he's like tough. He can't even take criticism, and he's like supposed to be like a strong alpha male. But apparently he blocks you as soon as he gets some pushback. So this is the tweet from top to finish. Do you want to read it? Because you read these things with much better.
Okay, I'll do a dramatic reading.
Dramatic reading.
I told you to all get rich fast. I told you all to get 10 passports. I told you all to build bunkers stocked with food. I told you all to have a jet on the runway. That's a little bit much. Iran has just attacked Israel. It begins. As usual, the elites will be fine. The prepared will survive. Anyone else ends up dead or enslaved. We'll be giving my personal updates for free on Telegram. Retweet this tweet once joined. Hell yeah, bro.
So I had to explain to my Iranian friends what this insanity is, because a lot of people in Iran are wondering, they're questioning, is this the end of the Islamic Republic of Iran, this attack? And I'm like, well, let's not exaggerate. That's not how far this is going to go. But I had to explain to them, some people outside of Iran, they look at this and they think that this is not the end of the Islamic Republic of Iran, but this is the end of the freaking world. And we're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I had to explain this conspiracy theory that whenever it happens, like whenever Israel does something like, oh my God, how many World War III is happening? How many times did people promise? Do people not understand how strong the world's institutions and trading relationships and allies? People don't underestimate the world liberal order. This thing is stronger than you think. I know sometimes I tell you guys that it's not as strong as you think, that it's not guaranteed and it requires defending, but it's not like every time there's some missiles flying from one country to another. Like, why do you think there's all these predictions that the end of the world is coming, World War III is happening, as soon as something happens in the Middle East, or as soon as there's a war between two countries? Do people not understand that the level of warfare is now less than it has ever been in the history of the world. Like this is even with the amount of war that we're
people
seeing right now
literally
in the
don't
news.
understand that. Armin, they actually don't know that.
Right. Because they don't understand what the world liberal order has done for you. The world liberal order has brought you a level of safety, security, and peace unimaginable in the more than 10,000 years history of humankind. Okay. Even with all these wars that you're seeing right now, this is the lowest it has ever been, brought to you by liberalism. You're welcome. Okay. So do not fall for these idiots. Okay. The reason why these people are saying that the world is ending and everything is falling apart is exactly the same reason why Muhammad did that, is exactly the same reason why Jesus did that, is exactly the same reason why all the other, so many other prophets and religions did that. The end of the world is coming and things are like falling apart is a good fear mongering tactic to tell people why you need me. Okay, everything is falling apart, only a few will survive, and if you follow me and if you listen to what I'm saying, you will be one of the chosen few that will not get wiped away. You're not going to get crushed. These people will take advantage of any form of escalation or any form of violence or war to act like the whole world is going to fall apart. The whole world is not going to fall apart. But people like to feel like they're one of the selected few. Religion does the exact same thing. This is why religions are obsessed with end of times narratives, apocalyptic stories and promises. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, they all have that because it works, because people feel special if everything is because the afterlife narrative is not enough. The afterlife narrative is too out of this world for you to relate to. You make two promises to people. Once we die, you're going to be like the chosen people, and everyone else is going to suffer except you. That works, but it's not just like, God the Father is too far away for people to relate to, and you need like a Jesus person to be more human, more close to us, for us to feel like chosen, something worldly chosen, right? The whole afterlife narrative is also too out of this world for people to feel very connected with. End of times narrative, apocalyptic narratives, rather than the afterlife narrative, is more in this world. Chosen few not to go to heaven, chosen few to survive the end of times. So this is a playbook from the religion. Andrew Tate is building a cult, and it's working perfectly for him, I guess. Well, actually, no, I don't know. It's not working that perfectly. He's in jail. But yeah. I mean, it didn't work for Jesus. He got crucified. It worked for Muhammad. It didn't work for Jesus. It's not working for Andrew Tate.
He played himself. I'm not going to lie.
Yes,
oops.
Yes.
And this is why we say, don't self-snitch. Andrew Tate might be one of the biggest self-snitchers in the entire world. When you literally make a course called the Pimping Hose degree, outlining how to use the lover boy method on women to coerce them into sex work, and then be like, oh no, I'm not human trafficking. when you literally made an educational course outlining your method of how you pimp people, that's like,
right.
you monetized your self snitching. I'm sorry, it's like too funny.
Okay, so just to be clear, I said jail. I meant house arrest. Technically, not in house arrest, but
for
they
some
still.
Time.
Yes, but he might go back in jail because the cases are piling up against him. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully he goes back to jail. Anyways, guys, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you leave a comment. Leaving a comment, it really helps us out. After the show is over, leave a comment on the show. That helps our channel grow. Subscribe, share this video, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Atheist Republic YouTube, and again, tell your friends and your enemies. Most importantly, your enemies. We want your enemies here, okay? Because we like to change opinions. We like people who disagree with us in the live chat, okay? We want more people who disagree with us in the live chat. So go tell your enemies to come, and just tell them, search for Atheist Republic on YouTube, okay? And you either send them a link or just say subscribe. Tell them Atheist, or like tell people that you disagree with, like, oh, you know who will set you straight? Susanna and Armin. They will have the best response. You think you're right? Go check Atheist Republic on YouTube. Then we'll see. Okay, challenge them to watch our videos and see if they will survive maintaining their dogmatic and crazy, insane views. Yeah,
I know, and make sure
yeah.
subscribe on YouTube and tune in next week, because there is so much that we didn't even get the chance to talk about today. Like, we need to talk about this shocking new poll that came out showing how highly British Muslims support Hamas. We need to talk about some Al-Quds Day events that happened across the US, the Khomeinists be wiling in America. We have to talk about this insane thing that just dropped, like US intelligence agencies are going woke over the term jihadi. There's a lot we need to talk that we didn't even get to today. So tune in next week, because we have a lot of catch up to do. And thank you for watching. This is like the largest live audience I've ever seen us have on the English side. This is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, we do get this level on the Persian side a lot, but this was the first time we got this on the English side. But thank you for being here, guys. Our channel is growing. We're getting to 50K soon.
Exactly. We are on the road to 50K, so help us pray to the YouTube gods. Our tithe.
Yes, the only gods we worship for now on this channel. That's the only gods. Yes.
Wait, where's your skull?
We become fully independent. Oh, wait.
We need. I need something to. I need an idol. Where's my idol? Wait, I have an idea. Wait, I have an idol. One second.
Okay. So people who don't know, one time we offended this religion that they use skulls. Oh yeah,
This is Harambe.
Anyways, so are we praying to the YouTube gods? So this is what they did. So we decided, we know what YouTube's, again, people don't know what the background is. We discovered what YouTube's religion is, and we just use their customs as a way to worship YouTube gods. That's how we survive so far. Anyways, let's go. People are like, what the hell's happening here? All right, guys. See you on the next stream. Bye.